A little recap of our recap. Haruto has been born with level 1002 powers, but everyone else thinks that he's just level 2. Also, he can only use barrier magic, but he can do all things with it. Right now, he's living with the nobleman Margrave and his wife Natalie as their adopted son. One day there is a lot of commotion in the castle. Margrave has just come back after attacking a bandit's base. However, the bandits launched an ambush on them, and Margrave lost lots of men while many others got injured. Despite all his best preparations, his soldiers are now fighting for their lives after being beaten so badly. He says that this scene will be too much for Haruto because he's young, but Haruto does not care. His demon servant Flay is mocking Margrave for losing to a bunch of thieves, but Haruto becomes serious and tells Flay to shut up. Because of the massive power emanating from him, she becomes scared and shuts up. Haruto pretends to go back to the castle, but on the way, he creates tons of barriers that can heal the soldiers. The soldiers are immediately cured of their cuts and other injuries, and everyone starts celebrating. Margrave himself is in shock at what happened. Of course, no one knows that it was Haruto who did it. That night, Flay comes to Haruto's room, but she does not say anything. Haruto realizes that it's probably because he told her to shut up earlier during the day. He apologizes and says that she can speak. Flay also says sorry. Then, Haruto creates from surveillance barriers and to look for the men that attacked Margrave. He finds a group of thieves in their hideout. However, he notices that not all of them look like thieves. Some of them look like soldiers, so he puts barriers around himself and Flay, and they fly to the location. However, Charlotte, Margrave's daughter and Haruto's sister, sees them flying. The bandits are celebrating outside while their main leaders are drinking inside the fort, happy that they defeated Margrave because Margrave is supposed to a great warrior. Haruto enters and traps them in his barriers. He questions them and learns that they are actually soldiers from the neighboring kingdom. They disguised themselves as bandits and entered Margrave's province to create mayhem here. Flay notes that there should have been Imperial soldiers guarding the borders, but the men say that they had an insider in the Imperial army. Haruto realizes that this takes a lot of influence, even more than his father's. The men promise to call off his operation. Haruto thanks them for their cooperation, and they become happy. Then, Haruto orders Flay to burn down this fort, and the men become unhappy. Haruto says that they attacked his father, so there's no way he's letting them go. Flay burns the men alive, destroying the fort in the process and killing many other bandits. As they are returning, Haruto decides to send an anonymous letter to his father explaining what happened. The next day, Margrave gets the letter. He is shocked that the border garrison let soldiers from the neighboring kingdom get in. He comes to realize that their empire is conspiring against him. Charlotte is with him, so she asks who took care of the bad guys. Margrave has his suspicions of Flay because of the efficient and ruthless that fire was used to destroy the fort, which is something that points towards her. So Charlotte goes to Flay and asks her if there are two Harutos. Flay asks her, "What the hell?" So Charlotte reveals that she saw her flying last night with Haruto. So she went to Haruto's room to check, but she saw him in there, fast asleep. Also, she did not sense the same dangerous aura that she usually does around Haruto. This is probably because the sleeping Haruto is the clone that he's making. Flay is surprised that Charlotte can also sense Haruto's immense powers. She talks about how Haruto is a great person, with powers that far exceed normal humans. Charlotte asks if she knows who Haruto really is. Flay says yes, but she won't reveal it. She's probably thinking about how Haruto said that he's the Demon Lord reborn. Then she goes and tells Haruto about her conversation with Charlotte. Haruto becomes worried that Charlotte is finding him even more suspicious. So he makes a surveillance system that will go off when anything suspicious happens around Charlotte. That night, Haruto wakes up to go to the toilet, but Charlotte follows after him. He tries to talk to her, but she just runs away. He goes for a bath, and Charlotte is spying on him. This goes on for several days. Wherever Haruto goes, whatever he is doing, Charlotte is spying on him. One day, Margrave says that Natalie and Charlotte will be going to an annual festival. Usually Margrave would go, but this year, he is too busy, so Haruto's mother and sister will be going. Haruto suggests that they take Flay along with them, but Natalie replies that they haven't seen Flay lately. Haruto remembers that he asked Flay to intimidate the monsters so that they wouldn't attack the villages and towns, and she's doing a pretty damn good job because of how strong she is. Natalie and Charlotte go to the festival. Sometime later, all of Haruto's surveillance goes off. Something is happening to Charlotte. Turns out their group has been attacked, and that too by Imperial soldiers. This is just basic political backstabbing. Natalie takes Charlotte and runs away, and the Imperial soldiers attack them. So, Natalie uses her own magic to stop their attacks. But there are too many of them for her to fight properly. Suddenly, a box appears on Charlotte's ears, and someone tells her to go in a particular direction. She points the way, and Natalie runs there. They reach a cliff, and Charlotte tells her to jump. So, Natalie jumps while activating the magic seal while holding her daughter. Honestly, what a badass. They land with some injuries, but overall, they're both fine. They find a cave nearby which is full of luminous moss. Natalie puts Charlotte in the corner and tells her that she's going to find the person who gave her instructions to come here. She says that whoever it is must be a hero of justice, someone who punishes evildoers. Charlotte cries and tells her not to go, but Natalie says that she needs to find the person who's protecting them. The moment she goes out, the cave's mouth is covered with an advanced illusion magic. Just then, the Imperial soldiers arrive and prepare to capture her. Natalie decides that she cannot be taken captive here, so she brings a dagger to neck to end her own life. She starts crying while thinking about her husband, son and daughter, and bringing a dagger closer and closer. But suddenly, it shatters, and she falls unconscious. Haruto arrives just then and grabs her. Turns out, he has been traveling here at full speed, and he just reached just in time. He becomes extremely angry because this time, the soldiers have really crossed the line. He uses powerful barrier magic to knock the soldiers back and send them crashing into the trees. Then he takes his mother into the cave and tells Charlotte that it's all okay. He keeps talking to her in a different voice so that she won't find out his identity. But Charlotte can sense that scary amount of mana and knows that it's her brother Haruto. She comes out and calls his name, and he accidentally shows his face. She asks him if he's a hero of justice. Haruto decides to play along with her and says, he is a hero of justice. She asks if he's going to use his powers to fight evildoers. He says yes again. Charlotte says that her mother taught her that the hero of justice punishes evildoers. She says that she's been wrong about Haruto all this time and he's actually a good person. Haruto asks her to keep his identity a secret, so Charlotte says yes, saying that she'll lie to their father if she has to. Then, he goes out to deal with the men outside. That night, Margrave gets the message that Natalie and Charlotte are safe. Flay has joined them, so they should be fine now. The bodyguards that were injured were spontaneously healed again, like last time. Margrave wants to thank the person who is helping them, but clearly, they have no intention of revealing themselves. He asks Haruto's opinion on the matter. We replies that they should continue being good, and the secret person will probably stay on their side. He says that no matter how many Imperial soldiers attack, the secret person will take care of them. Margrave points out that he never mentioned any Imperial soldiers. So Haruto quickly makes up some excuse about how bandits would attack villages, not Natalie and Charlotte. They talk about this for some time, until Margrave also comes to the correct idea that someone on the inside is trying to sabotage them. He talks about a woman who is probably responsible behind all this. Just then, Charlotte and Natalie return home, and Margrave hugs them tenderly. Then, Charlotte jumps into Haruto's arms, hugs her properly for the first time in her life. The parents are surprised, and Charlotte adds that she loves Haruto now. Flay looks on with jealousy. That's all for now. The rest in the next video. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notification and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.